Hey, what is up everyone? Blade here, and welcome back to another video of Persona 5X. Inside today's video, guys, we're going to be talking about top 3 future buffers that you guys do want to go ahead and invest into, seeing that of course we're getting later and later down the line of P5X itself. So if you guys are interested in this, be sure to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video. And as always, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Well, currently so far on P5X as global itself, or even if you're new on TW, we mainly just have the normal buffer here, which is Cord, who's exceptionally good, but there are 3 other characters that a lot of you guys are going to want to build in the future and may even want to summon on their banners when they do come on out. So we're going to be going over them today, and we're going to at least show you guys how good they really can be. Now, I might provide a little bit of gameplay in this. I'm still trying to decide on that. But what I am going to do firstly is I'm going to go over all the characters, their skills, exactly what they are proficient at. And then of course, we'll go ahead and decide at the end of the video if we want to provide some gameplay. So let's get straight into it. So the first character that we're going to be going over is going to be Turbo. Now, Turbo is a very interesting character here who's actually a standard unit. Now, granted, this might not mean too much on global, seeing that they still have the 6-month unit jail, but she's a standard unit here that you will be able to get from the standard banner here. And the good part about her is, as a buffer, she's able to do damage bonus increases, pierce rate increases, attack increases, protect your actual allies as well, because she can provide a shield, while also getting extra turns to do 2 extra moves. You heard that right. So it's kind of interesting to see how this character does end up working here, but she is a speed demon who genuinely is insanely good. To be honest, most of us players, we are grateful for her being a standard character, but it still comes to a surprise that she is one, because she plays better than even some limiteds in this game. But with that little introduction out the way here, let's go ahead and talk about what she really can do. So as I did say, she did excel at least attack bonuses, increasing your damage, all of that type of good stuff here. But where the magic really does happen is going to go down with her skills. So as per usual, you guys can't read the skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, or the highlights. So don't worry, I got something just for you guys, and that's going to be lafel.net. If you guys do not use their website, be sure to go ahead and do so. It does come in handy quite often here. But we can look at all of her set effects or all of her skills here. And the first skill that really does come in handy is going to be the Vortex Suppression. With this character, you actually end up using all of her skills equally, so you want to get really acquainted with this. But as a buffer, she's able to do an attack here that increases your allies' damage bonus by 8.8%, and this is going to be based off of her speed. The more speed that she ends up having, the more additional damage bonus that she's going to give off, which is going to go up to 35.1%, which is a huge deal, especially for the amount of time that you get it. It's going to be whole of 2 extra turns. Now, the good part about this is with this character, as I did say before, she does have an extra turn mechanic, which is kind of interesting how it does work. Usually you're going to get it on the second phase once you go ahead and actually use her mask value, which I'll talk more about that. And actually, you know what, yeah, we'll provide some gameplay because this character is going to be a little bit confusing, but and it actually shows it off a little bit better. But during her extra turn values with different skills, she end up proccing different things. So for the first skill, which you're not really going to see too much on the extra turn value unless you have higher dupes of Turbo, but it allows you to increase your skill damage by 50% and will always crit on the main target. Well, usually how this character is going to work is you're going to pop off this, get the extra damage turns and things of that nature, but on turn 2 you'll be able to pop off her mask, which speeds her up even further, allowing you to go ahead and use your other 2 skills, which is pretty darn interesting. The main way that you're going to be getting this is due to her actual way that she ends up working in the game, which is the more speed she has, she's able to go into this mass state and able to get a extra turn here. Now the extra turn is going to be based off an extra turn energy gauge that she ends up technically having, and this will allow you to pretty much do 2 of your moves at any time that you do want to in that second turn, which is pretty darn cool. Now the second thing that we're going to be looking at is going to be her second skill, being Overload Acceleration. This skill is actually very good as well because it allows you to get not only the attack percent buff here, but you're getting yourself a defense buff and allowing you to sustain yourself, as well as a small shield. Now for the attack percent buff and the defense buff here, you're getting that usually on your regular turn value, so you can just use skill 2 and easily have this. Though how her rotation does work, you're usually doing the skill 1 going into your mask form to do your skill 2, which then procs your extra turn to then do your skill 3. With this character in mind here, during the extra turn, which is when you're going to use this skill as well, that's where you're going to not only get the attack and defense buff, but you're also going to get that stack of a shield, which will last for 2 whole turns. It makes the character exceptionally good, especially as a character who's meant to be a buffer, but also a character who's meant to sustain your team. So you don't really have to worry all too much when it does come down to at least heals or sustaining too much, because that shield is pretty dang nice, especially if you can get in higher dupes to really expand more on that shield's capacity. Then we have the third skill, which is called Roaring Engine. Roaring Engine itself is actually a crazy good one. It's probably her best buff that she ends up having because it increases all your allies' pin. This is going to be based on your speed, as you're going to see right here on the screen, but alongside of this here, you're getting attack percentage out of this based on your speed. So it's an huge amount of just damage percentage of type of buffs here that you're going to end up getting. And if you are on your extra turn, you are getting more pin on the main target that you're buffing. So usually you want to make sure this is on your main character because this is going to give you a lot more. Our highlight itself gives you the attack side and the increased damage side, so you don't really have to worry about that. But mainly the magic happens with 2 of her passives. Her first passive, being Lead, increases your allies' damage dealt during the extra turn by 30%, allowing for some devastating damage. While her second passive here, which is Supercharge, increases your damage dealt to down enemies. So if you ever do have a down enemy itself, you get 24% extra damage dealt, which also, whenever Turbo is dealing additional damage here, he'll deal an additional 48% attack as physical damage, which is the reason why her first skill hits so hard versus some mobs. But now we've explained the character here, let's go ahead and talk about, do you need their weapon? And when it does come down to Turbo's weapon here, as one of the better buffers in the game, I would highly suggest to get it. Now, it's not mandatory that you do get it, but it is highly incentivized. The reason why I say this is highly incentivized to go ahead and go for it is because her whole kit does rely on speed. Well, as you know it, the 5-star weapon is the only weapon that she has that relies on giving her a ton of speed. The speed, as you know, is going to help out her entire kit while also helping out her attack percentage, her damage dealt, which is insanely good. Alongside with this, the 4-star weapon, 1, doesn't look ultra cool, 2, it only helps out her attack percentage and her damage dealt by 24% and 34%. The damage dealt is pretty darn nice, seeing that technically the 5-star weapon does give it out, but the main thing that we're missing is that speed that we do need for the rest of her kit. So I would have highly advised a lot of you guys to get this character's 5-star weapon, though keep in mind, she's a standard character, so her weapon you will be able to exchange later on. But we're going to go ahead and just show off some gameplay, just show you guys exactly how this does work. I'll see you guys in a second. Alright, so the best way to show off this character as well as all of the movesets is just going ahead and showing each skill and doing a quick cut. So I'll be trying to do some fade cuts in for the rest of the gameplay showcases. This is going to include not only just all 3 of their moves, but also their little special interaction or animation if they do have one, and their highlight. So let's get straight to it. For the first skill here, which is the one I was talking about the pierce damage, this is the Vortex Suppression. You would go ahead and use this, which is a huge AoE move, and it does a smackdown, getting criticals on everyone. Now with Turbo, she actually has a very special little animation here, which is going to be this mask right here. You're always going to use it usually on your turn 2, and this allows her to go into her extra turn state. You can kind of notice how much speed she's at as well if you look at the bottom of her feet, which is always nice to see. But if we go ahead and press this mask here, she does a cute little animation, which then changes her to her extra turn status. So what we go ahead and do is her second skill, which is called Overload Acceleration. This is the one that boosts your attack percentage as well as boosts your defense. As you can see on the screen immediately, he's able to go ahead and give everyone as well as a shield on the extra turn when it does get procced, right? Oh wait, no, this is the one that actually helps out our defense. It's the third one. Got mine mixed up for a quick second. And the third one here is the one that you're going to want to use here. It gives you the pin statuses, and it also would normally give you a no, I was right. Yeah, the other one would normally give you a shield. For some reason it didn't proc on our extra turn, which is kind of weird, but this one is the pin status and the attack increase. I had to double check my freaking kanji for a second, but let's go ahead and use this one as well. You would normally want to use this on your DPS. and that's how it would end up looking, allowing you to get 3 whole turns. Then lastly, of course, we do have our highlight, which is also pretty interesting. Make sure I slow it down to at least 2x speed so you guys can see majority of it, or at least see some of it here. Pretty darn cool, but let's go ahead and get to the next character. Now the next big buffer is going to be Wind Vast. Wind Vast is actually going to come out before Turbo here, and is going to be a huge unit that a lot of people are going to be pulling for on the global end of things. That's because this character is a crit damage buffer. You can help out with crit rate, crit damage, helping you as well with a couple debuffs such as Windswept, help out the SP recovery, as well as attack and damage bonus status effects. The character has a little bit of everything that a DPS unit does really want to have, especially in their team, and she makes it very apparent. So going ahead and quickly looking over her skills here, and I'm going to try to summarize the best of her skills because they do actually have a very long what's it called, description. We have a skill 1, skill 2, skill 3, and the highlight as per usual. On lafelle.net, you guys are going to see a little bit more about her and see exactly how she works. Well, with her first skill, which is called Wind of Vitality, pretty much this is an attacking move, which you will end up using mainly on your second turn. You wouldn't really use this on your first turn here, but it increases the damage that a foe is going to end up having. That's going to be based on your attack percentage and your crit damage. And the more crit damage that you have that's over 100%, the more you end up getting for attack stats, which is going to be really great to actually have. Now it goes to a maximum of 388% crit damage, so if you do have that, you're getting the max amount of attack stats or increased damage that you get on the enemy, which is always nice to have. And then we have the second skill. This one's called Under the Umbrella, and usually you would only use this one if you have her A0, or if you're in the A6 range, but usually it's the A0 range. And that's because this skill here is more of a substitute for the skill 3. Now with this in mind here, it increases your attack percentage based on 12.8% of your crit damage that's over 100%, just like the prior stat effect here. But alongside of this, it does restore 4 of your SP. This then allows any ally that deals damage with a persona skill, follow-up skill, or highlight to then restore 12 SP to their self once, which makes it really good for at least sustaining your team, allowing you to get your SP back and also get some buffs off, which is also cool. Then we have the skill 3, which is Fragrance of Time. All you really have to know about this one is you're consuming all your SP that you do have on the character, and what this gives you is it allows you to give crit rate to the character that you do want to have. Now for every SP that you do consume, you get a certain amount of status effects. So for 50 SP that you've consumed, you're getting an attack buff and crit damage buff, or at least an attack buff based on your crit damage, that's 1%. If you consume over 100 SP, you're increasing your crit damage for every 12% of your crit damage, that's over 100%. And then if you're consuming 150 SP, you're additionally increasing your crit damage for every 6% of crit damage, that's over 100%. So pretty much if you're able to do all 150, you're getting every last one of those stats, which is always insanely great. Alongside of this, she has a very good highlight skill, which allows her to boost one ally's attack percentage as well as their crit damage, which makes her an insanely good character. Some things that you do want to take note is inside of her passives here, although the first passive is insanely good as well, the second passive, which is Abundant, increases your crit damage based on her SP recovery by 450%. So the more SP recovery that you do have on this character, the more crit damage that you'll be able to give over to your team or give over to yourself, which means you can give more to your team in buff percentages. So it's actually insanely good to get this character as built as at least possibly functionable. And as a crit damage buffer, she pretty much goes in any team that you really want her to. You don't need any A1, you don't need any A0, which is a huge thing to at least take note of. As for her weapon, this is another character that I say is insanely strong with their weapon. You can very well use her 4-star weapon, but for this character, unlike where we have Turbo, where you're possible to use the 4-star weapon, this character I would highly incentivize a lot of you guys to try to only stick to the 5-star weapon. Reason being is because the more crit damage you have, the better your characters are going to perform, and the stronger your actual attack character is going to hit off of. It pretty much just has crit damage galore on this weapon, allowing you to get 36.3% crit damage off of it, then also allowing you to increase your allies crit damage by 13.2% whenever you do cast a skill on allies, and an increased damage dealt skill, that or at least increase in general whenever we do use a skill on allies as well. This is also going to give a 3.3% of skill target dealing based on 50% of our SP consumed. So she's giving out a ton of damage dealt, which is just going to happen as long as you're consuming SP, and that's just 3.3% at base. It can go higher, which is always insane to see. As for the 4-star weapon itself, it's not really all too bad. You can still use it. I know I used it for quite a little bit before I got the 5-star weapon. It increases your attack. It also, of course, increases your crit damage for 2 whole turns up to 2 stacks, which is going to be around, like, I want to say 32% or like 33% if you do get both stacks, which is always nice. And you're recovering SP if you use persona skills. So I mean, like, it still is decent, but for a character like this, with the amount of crit damage that she's giving off, that 5-star weapon is crazy good to have. But let's showcase her inside of a battle. Now, as I said before with this character, she's going to excel at a lot of things that revolve around giving your characters crit damage, and it's pretty darn awesome to see. So for the first thing that we're actually going to show off is our highlight, since we already have it here. This is the one that pretty much just allows you to just give as much crit damage as possible. Then we have our next skill, which is the skill 3, usually what you're going to be using first if you are a 1. This is a huge buff as well. And we'll showcase the skill 2 and skill 1 in a sec. Going into her skill 2, this is another buff move here as well, which you usually want to put on your attacker. Lastly, leading to the skill 1, which is more of a debuffing move, allowing you to deal a ton more damage. But that's all we had to show about Winvast here today, so let's go ahead and go to our next and last character. Lastly, we do have Summer Marian. Now, Summer Marian is on the very new side here as one of our new Summer variant characters here, and many of you just know of her regular healing variant. Well, this one is another crit damage buffer, which is the second crit damage buffer in the entire game, but she has a little bit of a gimmick with her. Not only does she help you out with just damage bonusing, crit damage, crit rate, as well as taking down the enemy's defense, but she has a thing where she's allowed to use different movesets to also use an item list. So the item list itself, just to give you a little bit of a highlight of how it does work, you are going to be able to proc this off the skill 3. Later on in the battle, an icon will pop up. You end up pressing icon, and she can use items without using up her turn. The items can go ahead and just be your regular items, but also give you some special ones that she only can use herself too. One of them increases your attack percentage by 30%. The other one increases your defense by 45%. Another by damage dealt by 25%. DOT by 10%. Additional effects by 10%. One more in all-out attack by 10%. Highlight and 30 damage by 10%. And then skill mastery by 600. It's a huge thing to keep track of, so don't worry. You'll be able to look at this on global and know exactly what an item does exist when we do get there. But she's an insanely good buffer that really you're going to be using everything on her. Let's take a look at her skills here. So as always, if you guys look at the screen, you'll see lafel.net once again, where she has her skill 1, skill 2, skill 3 in our highlight. Her skill 1 is the one that allows you to increase your attack percentage, which is always great, and it's going to max out on her HP. Skill 2, which is where things start to get a little bit more interesting, is a party buff that increases your damage by 7.8% for 3 whole turns, and alongside of this is going to be based on your HP. The good part about this is she's able to cure off a debuff with this second skill, so it's also really good to have. Then we have the skill 3, Faraway Flower. This one gives you mainly the crit rate status effect that we're looking for, which is a 15.6%, and then critical damage by 33.33%. Whenever this critical damage is over 100%, up to 213% of it, that's when you get this buff. Now it will last for 3 whole turns, and additionally, you're pretty much able to activate an item whenever you do have this. Additionally, you're also increasing your crit damage by 16.66%, and this is going to be based on over her 100% crit damage, going up to 213%. So more crit damage, just like of course we did with Rico, the better your actual options are going to be. Our highlight itself increases your allies damage by 24.4% and your crit damage by 16.66%, and this is going to be based on the same factor of 100% over crit damage up to 213% for the max amount of buff. Good part about this is whenever you do use an item for her, she increases the item's effect by 5.8%, which is awesome. Now she does have her two passives, which is Pray and Care. The only one that I truly do pay attention to is the Care one, because this one increases our attack percentage by 12% and then increases it by 15% more based on each buff, which you're going to be having a ton of these. But the good part about Pray here is whenever we do use a skill, it does grant us a blessing stack, and alongside of this we are getting an increased damage buff, which is always nice to have, and this can stack up to 36%. So let's go ahead and show off the character a little bit and show you guys exactly how she works. Now, I don't understand why I didn't just give the orange buff off bat to everyone else. It would have made this a lot quicker, but we did it for her so we can use all her moves. So for the highlight, it's going to do something like this, where initially she's going to do this little move right here, which does give us a lovely buff. This buff once again is a crit damage buff, which is insanely good. Then we have the skill 3 being the faraway flower or fairway flower here. This increases the crit rate as well as increases your crit damage, which is always nice to have. Then on the second turn that she ends up going about, you're able to then use this second skill right here. Now this second skill right here will increase your party's damage by at least the 7.8% that we talked about, which is going to look something like this. Lastly, we're going to have the skill 1. Skill 1 looks something like this as well. And before we wrap up at least how this does go, we're also going to show you guys how the extra little effect that she has works as well. So give me 1 second to go ahead and go back through. All right, so usually on your second turn like this here, you end up having this little basket, and when you click it, you're able to select from all of your skills or all of your potions here. Now she has these unique ones that are these little ones right here that all give some unique little effects that I explained. After going ahead and using any of these dudes, you get yourself the buff, and of course the increased buff if you use the highlight first, and then you can take your turn and do whatever you want to at the end of it. But now that we went over this, let's go ahead and end out the video. As per usual, thank you guys for watching this video. I do apologize that it was a little bit on the longer side. I wrote down a couple too many little tips that I really wanted to go through, so I do apologize about that, but hopefully you guys understand the buffers themselves. But till next time, everybody, thank y'all for watching. Peace out.